Hey guys, Trent with Hallmarks Detail here. Today I wanted to talk about paint polishing, how I do it, how you can get better results faster. Um, yeah, let's get into it. First of all, the tools you're going to need. You're going to need a dual action polisher. Um, you do not want a forced rotation machine or a rotary machine for this technique. It's a little scary with one of those, especially if you're a beginner. You can damage the paint with this particular technique. So use a Griot's or a Harbor Freight machine or one of those, or Rupes or something. The next thing is the compounds and polishes that you will need. You will need the Optimum lineup. We'll get into that in a little bit. I'm not sponsored by them, but their product happens to work the best with this technique that I've kind of developed. The next step, or the next product you will need, is the Lake Country HDO pads. The reason, we'll get into those in a minute, it has to be the Lake Country HDO pads. I don't know of any other pads on the market that have this technology. Once again, I'm not sponsored by Lake Country or Optimum. They're not sending me free stuff. They're not paying me to market this. I'm literally sharing this with you to help you guys out. So let's go ahead and talk about the reason why we need these particular things. First of all, the reason you need a DA polisher and not a forced rotation machine like a Flex 3401 or a rotary. This technique uses pressure, uses friction, and you're using a lot of pressure with this technique. Now, before you throw me under the bus and say you're going to damage the paint, hear me out. Listen to the entire video before you try to criticize me for this. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of hate over it. So you don't want a rotary machine. You don't want a forced rotation machine because you're putting pressure down on the machine. And if you're a beginner, it's easy to burn through edges. Not so easy to burn something like on a flat panel, but on an edge or something like that, it's easy to mess up. And so if you just got a Flex 3401 2 weeks ago and it's your first time you're polishing and you're going to follow this step or this tutorial, probably not for you. It's more of an advanced tutorial. So yeah, use a DA machine, a good quality DA machine, because you will be putting stress on everything. That sucks, I know, right? But it's worth it. Just hear me out. And the reason that you need the Optimum products is because they're water-based. They're not solvent-based like Meguiar's M105. The water-based products do not heat up the paint as much as the solvent-based products do. We'll get into that in a minute. So yeah, the Optimum stuff, water-based, works excellent with this result or this system. And the next thing is the Lake Country HDO pads. The reason you want those is because they run cooler than any other pad on the market. And like I said, we're using pressure with this, so the cooler you can keep the paint, the safer it is, the more cut you'll actually get. But yeah, so let's talk about the technique before I show it to you. First off, take your DA polisher, microfiber pad, your product. I have Optimum Intensive Polish here. Shake the piss out of it. This stuff separates, and I'm gonna cover the pad. Okay, not a whole lot, and I'm happy with the amount of product that's on the pad. Next thing is pressure. I'm going to be applying probably like 10 pounds of pressure. I know that sounds like a lot, but hear me out. This product does not heat up the paint like a traditional solvent M105 D300 type product. I'm not throwing Meguiar's underneath the bus. Just Card's the same way. I absolutely love Just Card, and it's my favorite compound. But yeah, this product does not heat up the paint as much. And these Lake Country HDO pads run very, very cool. Now, why would you want to apply more pressure? Well, you cut paint by applying pressure. I feel like I'm rambling, jumping all over the place here. Hopefully it's not too bad. But when you apply pressure, you create friction. Friction cuts the paint. The counterpart of friction, I can't think of it. The byproduct of friction is heat. Everyone knows when you heat up the paint, you can risk damaging it, burning it, causing it to fail prematurely. Everyone's seen that video from Obsessed Garage, correct? Also, speaking of Obsessed Garage, I actually learned this technique from them. I've simply adopted different products to achieve better, safer results. So yeah, you know, you're putting pressure on the paint, but the pressure is going to cut the paint. You know, like this entire door here, you can see how swirled it is. This is the 2001, never been polished. It's probably been run through an automatic car wash all of its entire life. The paint looks like shit. That's just the simple method. You could sit here and polish this all day with a microfiber pad, you know, and do your four section passes or whatever. Spend, 40 minutes on this door alone, just cutting the damn thing with traditional techniques. Or you can knock it out in like 10 minutes. It's a big difference. So yeah, you're going to apply pressure, roughly 10 pounds. You're not holding the machine in the same spot for an extended period of time. And I don't know if I can do this on camera. I hope I can. I don't know if it'll show up. I don't have the best setup here, guys. I apologize. So let's see. Let's get this mirror out of my way. I'm going to I'm gonna do a 2x2 area, roughly. I'm gonna put my machine. I have a Rupes LHR Mark II with a washer mod on it. If you're using a Rupes, gotta have the washer mod on it. The thing will stall, especially with this technique, because you're basically laying on top of the machine. I am going to put like 10 to 15 pounds of pressure on this machine. Now, hear me out. Polisher down. Thing's gonna fall over. Yep, I knew it. Damn thing. Okay. I'm gonna wipe it off. We're gonna check the results. I hope this is in frame. I really truly do. Pull out my sun match light here. Oh yeah, swirls are gone. This hazing that's left over is caused by the Optimum Intensive Polish. It does not finish out whatsoever. As far as the heat on the panel, is it hot? Absolutely not. It is at the most lukewarm. And I'm 100% serious. Like if you put your water faucet on medium, you know, whatever, you know, right between hot and cold, that's the way to think about it. That's as hot as this panel is. It's nowhere near being too hot to damage the paint or anything. And that is to do with the Lake Country HDO stuff and the Optimum system being water-based. If I did that same technique, applying, you know, 100 pounds of pressure, which is basically what I'm doing, you know, more or less. If I did that same technique with any other product, a solvent-based one, for instance, Jesscar or Meguiar's M105, this panel would be hot. I would absolutely run the risk of damaging the paint far more than what this is. Now, as you can see, it took me, I did 3 passes and I used pretty fast arm speed, and that panel's cut. I mean, it's ready to refine. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. Let me find my Let me find my pad. I laid it down and it's gone. Oh, it's right here in my belt. Okay. Okay. The other downside is you have to manage the residue that comes off, because you will get more residue on your pad. Let me show you that real quick before I polish anything. This here is my microfiber cutting disc. This was clean and it was prepped. I'm pretty sure I showed it on the video. Yeah, and now it looks like a caked up piece of crap. You got to clean it now, right? I mean, normally that would not look like that whatsoever. But because of the added pressure, the more friction we removed, more paint quickly. Next, I'm going to take my Lake Country HDO polishing pad. It happens to be orange in color. I think it's technically tangerine European foam. I don't really know. This is a very good polishing pad, though. It's not like a traditional orange pad. I'm going to take my Optimum Hyper Polish. I'm going to prime the pad. I'm going to prime the pad until I'm happy with it. I will do the exact same thing. The only thing different is on my last pass, I will lighten up on the pressure. That way I'm not cutting as much and I'm doing more refining at that stage. That way I get more shine and gloss. But let's say, I don't know how many passes I'm going to do. You just kind of feel it out with this method. It's kind of weird, but you know, once you've been doing it for a while, you just feel it out, and you know in the back of your mind, you're like, okay, I've been cutting the paint for 15 seconds. It's probably cut now, especially with this method. But yeah, I'm gonna apply the same amount of pressure. You know, my roughly, I don't know, 8 to 10 pounds, 8 to 12 pounds, somewhere in there. You know, I'm applying pressure. I'm using the palm of my hand, and I'm pressing down, and I'm basically locking my wrist. Probably not the best thing for OSHA, but whatever. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and do this. I'm gonna show you. Lightening up on my pressure now, this pass. Done. Now wipe away the excess product. For anyone wondering, I'm using a Costco microfiber towel. It is brand new, straight out of the package, and it is absolutely scratching the paint. As I'll bring you in and show you, it's destroying it right now, because you know it's a cheap towel, and I didn't pay $15 for it. And if you don't pay $15 for your towels, then they'll scratch the paint. Also, as far as the temperature goes, same thing, lukewarm. No way in hell I damage this paint. No way in hell. Okay, so let's see how my Costco microfiber scratched everything and how I don't know what the hell I'm doing scratching with polishing cars. Well, I got a smudge there. But as you can see, the Costco microfiber towel absolutely screwed it up. There's going to be scratches over here. I don't know if let me see if I can show you guys. I don't know if this is in frame or not. Let me double check. Oh yeah. There's a part I didn't polish. And the part I did polish. That pretty much speaks for itself, right? I mean, that's a no-brainer, my dude. That paint is absolutely pretty much cool to the touch, lightly warm. Like I said, no way in hell I damaged it. Also, there's no chance of dieback issues, which would be when you heat up the paint too much, the paint will actually swell because of the solvents and things in it, and it'll start to fill in those swirl marks. And then, you know, a couple hours down the road or a week or whatever, when the paint fully goes back to its natural hard state, because you basically softened the paint by heating it up too much, the swirl marks and etc. will come back. That's especially with rotary users. That's the reason you see a lot of these hack shops, because they'll lay on top of their damn rotary and heat the paint up so much that it looks great when it leaves the shop, but you know, a week later, whenever the paint re-cures because you basically melted the shit, it looks like crap. But yeah, that's it. I know this is going to be very controversial. These results speak for themselves. If you follow the techniques I used, use the optimum stuff, use the Lake Country HDO stuff, it is absolutely safe. I wouldn't recommend laying on top of a body panel that's got a bunch of curves on it. If you're going to do that, tape over the body lines. This truck doesn't have any. Unfortunately, it's an '01 Silverado. But you know, when you're hiring cars with the sharp curves, this method can be used, but be very cautious of those sharp curves. Like I said, this is more of an advanced method, not really for beginners. But you know, this entire truck here, doing this method, it's gonna take about 4 hours, roughly, maybe 5, because I'm lazy and I'm gonna take some breaks and sit on my phone. But there it is, guys. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions at all, please leave a comment. I will absolutely help to the best of my ability. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good day.